Branding is the translation of your identity. Everybody wants a new brand made, but not many people want to be made brand new. When I say made for more, I'm not talking about more money. I'm talking about more peace, more fulfillment, more joy. So how you perceive yourself is going to drive everything that you do. So I want you guys to clear your mind as I get ready to give you these 5 points and close out on how you can build your personal brand in 2026. These are the non-negotiables. So I told her, I said, look, you need to quit. She was like, but it doesn't matter. Quit your job. I didn't know she was gonna quit the next day. What limiting beliefs are holding you back today? What's keeping you bound? The biggest growth I've ever experienced in business and in life, in my marriage, in corporate, in entrepreneurship, came with me taking accountability. You might be able to lie with your words, but your energy is gonna tell the truth every time. We're too busy on social media chasing algorithms instead of chasing our own rhythm. I used to be nervous getting on stage and stuff, but I'm not anymore because I'm fully me. I don't have to worry about a Coldplay concert and the jumbo screen. Understand social media a little bit better. There are tools for us to use. You should not be so negligent that you don't know how to inspect what you expect. The people who serve the most people get the most recognition and money. If you are not present on the web, change that starting today. It literally will be the difference between you getting a promotion and someone else. Good evening, good evening. I am glad that you're here. You know, wherever you're watching from, whatever your background is, I just want to say this up front. I respect your time and the fact that you chose to spend a part of your evening here tells me that there's something about you. You're a thinker. You're searching. You're not satisfied with surface level results. And guess what? I'm not here to impress you. I'm not here to just hype you up. And I'm definitely not here to sell you shortcuts because I don't know of any. If you know some shortcuts that lead to success, let me know, okay? What I am here to do is let you know that I'm right here with you, but I've solved a few of the problems that you might be facing. Right? I'm here because at one point in my life, I did everything I was told was right. I worked hard. I stayed loyal. I showed up consistently. I checked all the boxes that people said mattered. I showed up on time. I ate my Wheaties. Okay, well, I probably didn't eat Wheaties, but I just threw that in there because I felt like somebody told me at one point that you should do that. Here's the thing, on paper, I was doing well, but inside, I just knew something was missing and I felt limited. It wasn't because I lacked the ability or that I didn't have the talent. It's not because I lacked discipline, because we all have discipline in some areas, even though we could all shape up. It was because I didn't yet understand how growth actually works. Like what I eventually learned is that effort alone has a ceiling. That's right. It doesn't matter how much effort you put in. If that's all you have, you're going to be cut off at some point. And progress without alignment is expensive. It comes at a cost. You know, I think the great J. Cole said it best. He said, you know, the good news is you came a long way. The bad news is you went the wrong way. So, you know, you can make progress on a treadmill. You're moving, but you're not going anywhere. And I know that some business owners, some corporate people, they have a number in mind in terms of how much money they want to make and, you know, what would be success to them. Here's the reality of that piece. Once you hit that number, you're going to want to get to the next level. And for a lot of people, 6 figures is that mark. I know for me, 6 figures was everything when it came to corporate. It's like, once I get to this level as a salary, I'm golden. Of course, that wasn't the case. And then I had the thought process of, oh, well, once I make 6 figures in business, then I'm really good because not only am I making six figures, this is a thing I really want to do. This is the thing I'm passionate about. This is the thing I got heart for. Yeah. But six figures, whether it shows up as a salary or as a business income, is not a job title or a milestone. It's a level of thinking that does it. Doesn't matter what your title is. It doesn't matter what you're selling. It comes with a level of responsibility, a level of maturity. It's the result of becoming someone other than becoming something, right? You become someone that other people can trust with outcomes, decisions, influence, etc. And that process doesn't change based on where you work. The ladder is the ladder. The environment may shift. Your boss may be different. The logo of the company that you represent may be different. The ownership may be different. You may be the owner, or it may be somebody that you work for, but the principles stay the same. So tonight, I want to walk you through some proven ways to build a six-figure brand, meaning the way people experience you, trust you, and decide what you're worth. As harsh as that sentence may be, is absolutely true because people from a distance will look at you and make assumptions and judgments and things of that nature. But once you open your mouth, you have the chance to prove them wrong or prove them right. So let's jump into a few of the things that go along with what it takes to truly build something that's proven to make six figures. And for everybody that's on this call, if you make $99,000, $99,999, it is not six figures. However, most people visualize six figures as just 100,000. My guy, Marcus Y. Rozier, talks about this all the time. That's just the baseline. That's the beginning of the race to, when it comes to six figures. Six figures goes all the way up to 999,999. That's the highest mark of six figures. So don't just get trapped thinking about that, $100,000 mark. That's the beginning of six figures. Okay. But the traveling road to get there, whether you're doing it in corporate or in business, it's not a marketing problem that's keeping you from being there. It's a personal development problem. People don't get paid more because they work harder. Well, I'm speaking in general. The primary way that they get paid more is because they reduce uncertainty. They increase clarity. It makes it easier for other people to trust them. And once you develop yourself in that way and put yourself in that position, people can see you that way, they will naturally want to pay you more to do more. Right? If that's true, if you felt that, if you know that to be the case, put true in the comments. I need to see who I have in here talking with me today because it matters at the end of the day. Let's see. Oh, so I'm sorry. I was looking at the comments trying to see who was saying something. Got a few people on all these different places. By the way, I'm going live across every social media platform: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube at the same time. All right, I got a true in the comments. I appreciate that. But here are my teaching points. I want to let you guys know the 6 things that I have found to be very common amongst people who have reached a 6-figure mark in business or in corporate or in both. And just to let you guys know, I've done it in every facet. I've done it in corporate, I've done it in multiple businesses, and I've done it for customers. It's not impossible. And a lot of people graduate to that level and they get stuck from going to the next level. But some of these principles apply whether you're going from, 5 figures to 6 or 6 to 7. And the reality is, if you can begin to get clear on these things, you'll start to see that needle shift in your favor. Okay. So number 1, You might want to grab a pen and write this down. And I appreciate the comments. I see you guys out there. Teaching point number 1. Trust me when I tell you, if you can become known for one clear thing, that's number 1. Become known for one clear thing. Your growth will accelerate. People will begin to understand you quickly. You will be clear on what you're doing. Your confidence is going to go up. Decision makers are going to start seeing you in a different light, right? Being good at a lot of things slows momentum because now it's taking your time and your attention in different ways. Being trusted for one outcome increases your opportunity to grow in that thing. I forgot where I heard it or what I saw it on, but recently I was watching something and it was a person saying, I think it was a documentary of Martin Scorsese, the film director. And he was talking about people wanting him to do several different things because he had talent and skill to do it. But he wanted to focus on film. So much so that like watching this documentary taught me so much about his work ethic and what he was able to do. And it wasn't that he was so much better than so many other filmmakers. And he ran into a lot of problems and risk. But the main thing was he was clear on who he was. He was good at one thing. He was known for one clear thing. Now, I know a lot of people feel like, well, I don't know what that is for me. Well, you have to spend time with that. You have to build that. You have to develop it. You have to try things out. I don't believe niching down is the best way to do things right off the bat. I think you have to start a little wider and then you narrow it down as you begin to develop it and realize what makes you tick and what people want from you. Because if people can't really explain what you bring to the table, they'll hesitate to invest more in you. And guess what? It's even worse if you can't explain it. The last thing you need to do is go to a conference or a networking event and somebody says, hey, so what do you do? Which is like the worst question to ask. Please stop asking this question when you go places. Try to find a more intriguing way to begin a conversation. Find some commonality, a common ground, right? It may be a jacket that they have on that you like, or you notice something about their glasses. Or you could just ask them, hey, what's the biggest project you're working on right now? That's going to open up the conversation. But if you say, hey, what do you do? You've just put yourself in a bottle. And they're going to answer it in a way that is not really going to be like exciting about it for them. So anyway, back to that point. When someone asks you that, you need to have a clear-cut answer. For me, it's simple. I'm a brand strategist. I help individuals develop their brand. Period. That's all I do. I got talent to do other stuff. Matter of fact, I used to work a Zambodia machine. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but on the hockey rinks where you go ice skating, it's a guy that gets on a machine and rolls over the ice to smooth it out after people skate on it so that it can look fresh and clean and people won't trip and fall. I used to do that. That was one of my jobs. But why would I go around telling people that? That was 20 years ago. Okay, so get clear on one thing that you do well, and develop it, sharpen it, be better at it. Number 2, you have to begin to think like an owner before you can be paid like one. I'm going to say that again. You have to begin to think like an owner before you can be paid like one. Ownership is not about responsibility only. It's about responsibility. It's about holding true to being a big component of this company that you work for, or truly working in and own the company that you own. Okay, it's not about authority. It comes with that, but it's not about that. Ownership thinks in outcomes, not effort. Ownership doesn't take the per diem that the company gives you of $100 a day and goes to buy the most expensive lunch on the menu. Ownership goes, well, I don't really need $100. I'll spend, 15 or 20, get something nice, go back to the room. Owners care about impact, reputation, long-term value. Trust grows when other people feel like you're invested beyond yourself. That goes for business and corporate. When you're just invested in what you want, it will show, it will leak, it will bleed. I tell my clients all the time, you can't just be so focused on what you want. That is the quickest way to not get it. Or you'll get it and it'll be short term. So center yourself around how you can serve more people, how you can be better at your craft, how you can take on a position of ownership no matter what your position is. The guy that sweeps and mops the floor as if it's his floor is surely going to get a promotion and a raise at some point. That's just all it is to it. All right, compensation will always follow responsibility and ownership. Just know that. All right, number 3, you have to learn to translate value, not just do good work. Translate value. Hard work doesn't automatically speak for itself. The value must be articulated to be recognized. Okay, people reward clarity. They want to be able to reward someone who is not just doing the work, but they are providing value. I'll give you a quick example. At my last tenure for organization, I was responsible for making sure customers wanted to renew at the end of the day. They had a subscription. I wanted to make sure they were happy. It's called customer success management. And my job would be to kind of keep a good tempo and a pulse on the relationship with that customer over the month cadence to make sure they were getting value out of the product. Because if they weren't getting value out of the product, they weren't going to buy it again. How many times have you purchased something and put it on the shelf, and then you come around it like 4 months later, you be like, oh man, I remember this. Or, if you're a sweet fan like me, I like chocolate. I'll buy some chocolate or something. You know how you're in the line at the store and they have that little, I call it the Hall of Shame. It's the place where they got all the stuff that you don't need, you don't want, but for some reason it's just interesting while you're waiting to check out. So you end up looking at all those cookies that you find at your grandma's house under the couch, and you're like, oh, this looks cool. This swirl, cinnamon, whatever it is. And you put it in the bag, you buy it, you go out. That wasn't the thing you went for, but it ended up in your bag. You get home, you take stuff out, you're focused on the thing you went to get. The other thing just ends up in a cabinet somewhere. And, 2 Christmases later, you come across it and you're like, oh, I remember this. Guess what? Not only did you not get value out of it because it's now expired, but you're probably not going to buy it again. It's the same way with you. If your customers aren't getting value out of you and your business, your product, your service, they're probably not going to come back. Okay? If your boss is not getting value out of you and you're just clocking in and out, you're barely on the Zoom calls, you don't come on camera, you don't ask questions, you hate your job. It shows. You have to switch your mindset to begin giving value. If you don't translate that value, even if you do good work, let's say that you're a hard worker, you show up on time. That's your thing. You're dedicated to making sure that job is there. That's all you're doing though. I remember talking to somebody one time. She had lost like 2 jobs in a row. And she was on her 3rd job and she was getting written up and stuff like that. And she was like, Rod, I just don't understand. Like, why is this happening to me? And so in talking with her and asking questions, I was like, well, what's going on? Give me some examples of, how the atmosphere and the culture is. And the one example she gave me, I saw it clear as day. She said, yeah, they want me to be more friendly. I don't want to be friendly. I said, okay. She's like, it's not my job. It's not a job requirement for me to smile. I said, all right. And she said, yeah, this one lady came to my desk once and said, hey, do you not like me? And I didn't even say anything to her. I just kept on working. And I said, no wonder you got fired. But I didn't say that to her. But the point was,
Like you're not providing value. You're actually a sore spot. People in the office don't like you. Customers don't want to call you back. If they don't want to be around you, how can you expect them to continually pay you? If you're the bad apple in the bunch, you're going to sour the rest of the apples. So they're going to get rid of that apple as soon as they recognize it. All right. Now, I'm going to do a quick recap before I do the other three because I want you to understand how important these things are to building a brand that can give you six figures. This is essential. It's not rocket science. It's very simple. But if you apply these principles, I promise you, over time, after you build momentum and consistency, you will see an increase. That's all it is to it. So number one, I said, become known for one clear thing. Become that person. Become the go-to girl, the go-to guy for that one thing. Yeah, you can do other things good, but do that one thing really good. Number two, think like an owner before you're paid like one. You have to begin to develop a CEO mindset. If you don't think like a CEO, you will never be a CEO. And yeah, you might not want to be a CEO, but you understand my point. You have to begin to think differently. Think from a place of ownership. Number three, I said, learn to translate value, not just do good work. Good work is great. Translating value is greater. When they start thinking about cuts, if you're providing value, it's going to be really hard for them to let you go. If you're just doing good work, they can find somebody else to do good work. All right, number four, as we move on, you want to build relational capital, not just your skill. You do want to build your skill, okay? Muscles do develop atrophy if you don't use them over time. Skill is the same way. You have to continually sharpen yourself and better yourself. Don't rely on what got you in the door. Develop that thing so you can stay in the door. Skills open the doors. Relationships sustain that. Now, I don't mean relationships in the sense of, oh yeah, my boss is my best friend, or I'm cool with all of my clients. Cool doesn't pay the bills. What are you doing? I forgot who did it. Don't beat me up, ladies or men. But I think it was Paula Abdul. She had a song in the 80s called What Have You Done For Me Lately? Dun, 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 dun. Was it Paula Abdul? I think it was Paula Abdul. Let me know. But that's the whole point. What have you done for me lately? This is the same way your clients feel. This is the same way your bosses feel. Opportunity flows through trust. People advocate for those that they believe in. And isolation will slow your growth. Don't feel like you could just be in your own corner. Thank you. Somebody said it's Janet Jackson. Where did I get Paula Abdul from? Yeah, I think they're pretty close. Paula Abdul held her own back in the day. She didn't have a Jackson name to stick with, but anyway, they might have had the same producer and writer for that song. That's why it sounds alike. But yeah, isolation will slow your growth, but connection will accelerate it. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten opportunities just because of somebody I'm connected to. But I've also lost opportunities because I wasn't doing what I needed to do. I wasn't developing my skill. So you have to do a bit of both. You can't just make the connections and not have the skill. And you can't just have the skill and not have the connections. You will be capped on your growth and your ability to get to the 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure mark without having these things kind of intact. And there's levels to it, right? Because once you reach the 6-figure level, you have to begin to develop and cultivate those relationships in a different way than you did to get to the 6-figure level. That's how you get to the 7 and the 8. It's so many different nuances and strings attached to it. That's why I wanted to focus on 6 figures today, because I've done it, I've seen it, and I know what it takes. So these first 4 are the pillars of what you need to do to get your mindset in the position that it needs to be in to be able to grow to that place. But I promise you, if you don't have something that you are clearly defined as the person to do it, then you're never going to get there. That's why that was number one. For me, starting out, it was building websites. I've been building websites since the internet came out, almost maybe like 3 years later. When I say came out, I don't mean when they developed it in the 60s. I mean when it was publicly announced. Okay. Back when we had Black Planet and GeoCities. This was before MySpace, and I'm talking like AOL, dial-up, Yahoo chat groups where it's like, oh, I'm talking to a person in Boston. This is so cool. Like, it was before all of this other extra stuff. And I'll never forget, me and my best friend were, 18 or something like that. We were flirting online, talking to girls. We have no clue what they look like. And we like, how can we show them pictures? How can they see pictures of us? And I was like, let me Google some stuff. At that time, it was Yahoo. Let me search some stuff up. Let me look up ways I can do this. What browser shall I use? I think it was Microsoft Explorer at that time. But needless to say, I found out that I could show them what I look like or get pictures of them by building my own website. So that's what I did. I built my own website. I learned how to do it, stayed up all night figuring this stuff out. And it wasn't until 9-10 years later that I developed it over time and had enough confidence to start charging people for it. And that just continued to grow and develop and blossom. But it blossomed because of these 4 points I've given you so far. I got 2 more to go. But I'm trying to tell you, whatever it is has to be rooted in some skill, some product, some service that you provide that you are known for. Okay? So number 5, align your image with your aspiration. Don't get stuck with where you are. Whoo, let me say that again. Don't get stuck with where you are. Where you are is not where you want to be. Now, that doesn't mean you don't like where you are. That doesn't mean you can't stay where you are and still grow. And I'm talking about your personal way of going about life, your mindset, the way you view things, the way you handle discomfort and adversity. That is the part that you cannot get stuck in. You have to align your image, who you see yourself to be, who others see you to be, with your aspiration. People experience you before they evaluate you. So who they experience is going to determine the evaluation. Well, what do you mean by that, Rod? I'll never forget an interview I had where my personality was shining through. And I could say that in hindsight, but I felt it in the room. And there was like one person in the room who just, no matter what I said, you could just tell she didn't like me. She was sitting on the other side of the room like this. And I'm like, who does that in an interview? But needless to say, she was evaluating me based off of what she saw. As she began to hear me and experience me, her evaluation changed. She went from, I don't like this guy for whatever reason, to, oh, okay, maybe he's pretty cool. I got another job that I was applying for where I literally did not qualify. And I was bombing this interview bad. It was a technical job. The person who was interviewing me was just asking me all type of questions that I should know the answer to. I'll give you an example without going super techie. Let's say that I wanted to be a bus driver and she was an experienced bus driver and I'm interviewing for this job. And she's like, all right, so how many years have you been driving? And I'm like, I've never driven before. She's like, okay. Next question. Let's see. If you went to the bus stop and picked Johnny up and he wasn't there, and I'm just like bombing these answers to the point where we didn't even make it halfway through the interview. It was supposed to be an hour interview. It was like 20 minutes in. And I was trying to answer a question and she just started shaking her head. She was like, yeah, this isn't working. I was like, yeah, I know. And I was like, would it help if I told you I'm a quick learner? She was like, no. Here's the point. I got the job anyway. Why? Because I had the experience with her that made her like my personality. Even though she gave me a bad rep because of my competence level, it earned me a second interview with the team because of my personality, because your presence communicates readiness. Your presence communicates readiness. Are you ready for the level that you're trying to go to? People say, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. I say, get ready and then stay ready, because you have to get ready first. If you're inconsistent, you're going to create doubt. If you're not aligned with your own self, you're going to lose credibility. You have to know who you are and build that thing in order to reach the next level. Okay? All right. Finally, point number 6. Stay in your work, not in your feelings. I'm going to say that again. Stay in your work, not in your feelings. Focus on the facts. That's what six-figure owners do. They focus on the facts. Feelings do come, but feelings also go. Growth includes being uncomfortable. It's discomfort and resistance tied together. That's how you grow. If you haven't been in the gym in a while, which I haven't, my trainer's going to get on me. Shout out to Ebony at Fit 404. And you start back going, you're going to get stretched. There's going to be resistance and discomfort. You cannot achieve growth without discomfort and resistance. So you want to grow to 6 figures? You want to figure out the formula? Well, mix some of that in there. You can't just take all of the good ingredients. Oh, let me get some strawberries and some sugar and some whipped cream. Woo! I'm going to make this amazing smoothie so I can be healthy. No, you're going to need to put some broccoli in there, or maybe some kale. You know, maybe a little less sugar, maybe honey instead. Right? Difficult moments refine judgment and maturity. Don't try to avoid the difficulty. That's another way that you can grow to that place. I spent 90 days straight strategizing on how I can scale my business to 6 figures. 90 days. I was working a full-time job. I got 3 kids, wife, dog. I was busy. I had a business as well. So I'm working my full-time job. I have a business. I'm trying to scale my business up. I spent 90 days waking up at 5 a.m. every day, weekends included, working my business until 8 a.m. when I started my full-time job, focusing on that fully. Now, I want to just address y'all now. Those of you who have a business and work a job, stop cheating the system. Stop trying to do the bare minimum and collect a check while focusing on your business. Remember that ownership mentality piece I told you? It applies both ways. You can't expect your business to grow when you're taking money from a business and not helping them to grow. It just doesn't work that way. And I saw my life skyrocket when I switched that mentality. Not that I was bad off, but when I really lasered in and focused and separated those two, I worked on my business 5 to 8. I worked on my full-time job 8 to 5. I walked a mile at 5 o'clock every day. Came home, focused on the family. Then I focused back on my business from like 6 to 9. So for people who don't have a business, you're just working a 9 to 5. But I say that business owners work 5 to 9. Or you should. Okay? When you try to escape challenging moments or difficulty, all you're doing is delaying your development. Don't try to escape the difficulty. Go through it. You will get to the other side. And then there will be another level and another layer of some new difficulties to go through. I remember when I hired my first person, I was a solopreneur for years. And in that 90-day stretch, I realized I needed to hire somebody. I can never get to the level I'm trying to go to by myself. I need a coach. I need a worker. I need a VA. I need all type of stuff. I made my first hire and it hurt and helped at the same time. It hurt because I needed the money, but it helped because it freed me up to make more money. See, we get too focused on what we're losing. We get sidetracked by the mesmerizing thought that, oh man, I have to take my hard-earned money and give it away. No, that's not what you're doing. What you're doing is you're taking your money and instead of buying something that's going to give you a temporary joy, like ice cream, you're purchasing something that's going to give you a long-lasting ability to buy more ice cream. Come on, man. Like, this is so simple to me, but it took time for me to understand this. So that's why I'm breaking it down in a way where you can get it within this 30, 40-minute live that I'm doing. 6-figure growth requires emotional discipline. When that customer tells you, yeah, I'm going to sign up for your program, and you go, okay, and you send the link, and then they don't sign up, you can't be mad at them. That's where emotional discipline comes into play. When that customer calls you and they're frustrated about something that's going on, who are you to allow your emotions and feelings to interrupt your business and your ability to make money? I just gave that example of the person who's like, they don't pay me to be friends. You're right. They don't. And now they're not about to pay you at all. So make up your mind. What is it that you want? If you want to grow yourself in this way, then you have to have the emotional fortitude to push through how you feel and focus on the facts. Okay? Now, here's the bottom line. Everybody wants more income. But what most people really want is peace, freedom, stability, fulfillment. They want to feel like they're doing their life's purpose. And they want to feel the joy that comes along with knowing that things are covered and they can take a vacation and relax. Everybody wants that part of life, but you have to earn it. You have to put in the work necessary to get there. Money is meant to support your life, not replace it. Don't get so focused on growing your income that you are stunting your personal growth. This is why people get to the riches, they get the bag, and then they're miserable. This is why when the stock market crashes, people jump off bridges because their life is tied to the income that they have rather than the outcome that they are seeking. You can have a brand that pays you well, that costs you your joy, your time, and your health. Okay? So don't just build a brand that can make it to 6 figures. Build the man and the woman that can make it to 6 figures mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, and financially. That way, when you get to the 6-figure mark, you can actually sustain it. Because there's this other thing that people do where they make it to that level and then they fall all the way back down because they can't handle it. The pressure is just too immense. So that's pretty much what I have for you today. I wanted to lay it out in a way where you understood that these 6 principles are really the key to building 6-figure wealth. And when I say 6 figures, I'm talking 100,000 all the way up to 999,000. It's necessary to get to that level. It's impossible to do it without. Now, this was obviously a free live. I'm doing this every Thursday. I have a link in my bio if you want to be reminded of these calls. We're going to be jumping on, going through this same type of material, but I'm going to be jumping from subject to subject. You can go to rodbrinson.com to see more. But I also have a community that I talk in, and we're going to be talking tonight right after this call. So if you're interested in joining the community, you can scan the QR code on the screen, or you can go to rodbrinson.com and find it. It's $37 to join the coaching call where we're going to dive a little bit deeper. I'm going to be able to make sure you understand each one of these principles and how it aligns to business and corporate. But in addition to that, those who are in the community, it's $50 a month to be in the community. Not only do you have continued access after the call, you get the access to replays, and there'll be a Q&A where you can ask me a specific question about what you have going on right after this call. So there's no pressure to join. I would love to have you though. If you're building something or trying to scale and grow, and you just don't really know how to do the thing that you're trying to do, you don't know how to get clear on the one thing that defines you, the one thing that you can be known for, or you have the skill set, but you don't know how to make the connections. You don't know how to post on social media to begin growing your brand, all of that stuff. Those are the things that we discuss within the community to help build one another up and get us in a space where we're not just making it to the six-figure level. We're advancing well beyond that. We're taking what we've already earned and worked hard for and multiplying it and putting our mindset in a space where not only do we have the ownership vibe, but we're relationally savvy and we're able to develop connections that can take us further and further and further. So that said, I hope to see you guys on the call. It starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you need anything, shoot me a note. Me and my team will be able to help you out. But I'm looking forward to building brands as I go. And I can't wait to see you guys on the other side. All right, take it easy.